Welcome back to another Inside Star Citizen review. Here we have our friends. These are my fans. This is my audience. These are my friends. Some of them VIPs. Some of them special, super special sauce. With all that inside access to all my wonderful, depressing details of my life that they love, they can't get enough of. It makes them feel better inside. And today we're going to be watching another episode of Inside Star Citizen together live. And what I love about this format is that we're actually watching this together. I don't watch the show ahead of time. I don't like to get tipped off. I like to be surprised, and I like the reactions to be honest to goodness real for you guys, so you can see how I'm reacting at any given point in time. Yes, they do change. My opinions will change as they ruminate in my head. You might see a video that's slightly different from the opinions that I say on the show, but that's what makes it great. Spartan says that makes us sound evil. You are my evil, wonderful fans. Evil's not necessarily bad, is it? Yeah, it is. I think that's the definition of evil. All right, guys, so we're going to watch another episode. Let's see what this episode deals with. I'm really curious about it. Sometimes I think that they listen to this show specifically. I think sometimes even Chris watches the games ever since 2015, because there's this weird, uncanny thing that happens where when I talk about a subject, it's like this subscription. It's like how Boba just subscribed to me. You see the signs? Thank you, Boba, for the subscription, dude. I appreciate the subscription, my friend, and a VIP on our Patreon. Thank you so much. But that's what it feels like. Sometimes they almost respond to my videos. Why? Because I do op-ed pieces on Star Citizen. I just don't do the news. I just don't do the leaks. Anyway, enough. Without further ado. Is this too loud, guys? Let me know. I feel like this is really loud.
Famous person once said, walk softly and carry a big stick. And in the universe of Star Citizen, that might be best paraphrased as carry the right stick, and you can walk wherever you'd like. Whether you find yourself walking the savannas of Hurston, or beneath the surface of ArcCorp's moons, or even within the confines of massive ships like the Reclaimer or the 890 Jump, when conflict arises...
Okay, I'm going to make a guess here. I have no idea what this episode is about. We're going to talk about some type of weaponry. I'm guessing that it's going to either be ship weaponry. No, it's probably going to be some type of new release with a rifle or a pistol. I know the missile launcher is going to be hitting in 3.6. Ah, boom. Thank you, Boba.
It's important you have the right stick for the job, whether that's a new pistol from Bering or a machine gun from Klaus and Warner. Let's go ahead and let Johnny tell us more.
Johnny.
On the action shot. So we were watching some of the videos from like 4 years ago that we did here, and a lot of them were literally like camera behind them. They turned around and was like, and then started talking. It was great.
So true. That's so funny. We do have to give props to Sig because production value has definitely increased over the years. He's absolutely right. Johnny is absolutely right. I remember that. And it was like right up in their grill. You remember the cameras used to be like right up in their face. They turn around and go. It was so like badly produced. So I do like the production value. We got to give him a little credit. This looks like a 13-minute video, so it's a little bit longer than normal. Good.
So what we wanted to do today was give you a bit of a sneak peek at the two weapons that we've got coming out for 3.6. This is the Bering S38 pistol and the Klaus & Werner Lumen 5 SMG. Just keep in mind that these are very work in progress at the moment and they're not quite release ready, so just take everything with a bit of a pinch of salt, and anything that you see on here that doesn't quite look right will probably be fixed by the time you get your hands on them. We'll start with the Bering S38 pistol then.
The attention to detail on the weaponry on just about anything is superb. I am a big FPS guy. So when it comes to like weaponry, I'm all about it. Like loadouts on ships, personal weapons, the rocket launcher that's going to be coming out is just, I'm like all about it. I think I'm going to do like, I think I'm going to do tests on them. I watch videos from Rexzilla, where they have these big ground assaults, which, you know, that takes a lot of time for some content producers to create that type. So I give lots of props to Rex for creating like awesome videos. I do notice in Rex's videos that the landings and takes off, the landing and takeoff of the craft look generic. So hopefully the new VTOL flight mechanics are going to fix a few things. I'm going to do, I think, a video about VTOL and how it's going to affect the Prospector coming up. I'm not quite sure, but let's get back to this show.
So here it is in game. So this pistol is kind of a bit of a middle ground between the LH86, the Gemini pistol that we've currently got, and the Castak Arms Coda, which is the big old-style revolver kind of 50 cal pistol that does, you know, really heavy damage, fires incredibly slowly. Whereas the LH6 you can kind of fire incredibly fast, and it fires a bit lighter ammo. So yeah, like I say, this one's a bit in between the two. So you won't quite get the same fire speed as you can from the L86, but you can still fire quite fast at shorter ranges, and it's still reasonably accurate from the hip.
That's a much faster fire rate
it's
than
actually pretty accurate at longer ranges as well. You're still hitting reasonably reliably at 30, 40, even 50 meters with this.
You guys seen that little round come out? Pa-chung, pa-chung. That's freaking awesome, the detail on that.
If you eat while doing it, I could feed you if you want.
What?
All right. Let me just... So this one is the Klaus & Werner Lumen 5 Laser SMG.
Whoa.
Here it is in game. So
that looked like an electric cattle prod. I bet, is that an SMG is what he said?
As you can see, yeah, it kind of looks like the other Klaus & Werner weapons with a bit of a twist. It's much shorter, the front's a lot more different, and there's kind of a few extra different bits and pieces on there that differentiate it from the others. So this one's actually very interesting when it comes to fire behavior, because it's a fire mode that we've never really played around with before. We've been calling it a full auto burst, so it does fire in bursts, kind of like the Klaus & Werner assault rifle and a couple of the other weapons that we've got. But you can hold the trigger down to keep looping the...
I don't know. I don't like the kickback on that. I don't like the kickback. I mean, the accuracy on that, I know it's an SMG, but there's too much kickback on that for my personal taste. It's a laser SMG.
Burst fire. So it behaves a little bit more like an SMG, but you get the burst behavior that you would from a Klaus & Werner weapon. So as you can see, yeah, at shorter ranges, like 5 meters, you can just put the hammer down.
That as well. Boba brings up a very good point, right? That is such a great point, Boba. Like, okay, we want a little realism. Would lasers have any kick to them? Like, would lasers produce enough energy to have like a kick from them? It is literally light coming from a diode. So the energy burst may like kick back, but I actually agree with Boba. Like, would it have a kick? What's up, Hell? Hell says, that was funny. I was wanting it just at that point when I decided you were going to be a bit more interesting. What? Okay. Lasers are light. Light has momentum, but not that much. Arcane, exactly. I agree. What's up, Kelly? Welcome to the stream. She says, well. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, Spartan sticking up for that. Thank you, Hell, for the follow, bro. I'm not quite sure why an SMG would have a laser would have a kickback to it. Not quite sure.
Keep firing these rounds out and do a devastating amount of damage, or at longer ranges you can
welcome to the live show, bro.
Again, like, you're still reasonably accurate with these bursts if you control them manually. So that's what we've been working on for 3.6. We're really excited to get these weapons in your hands. So we've got the S38 pistol, we've got the Lumen 5 SMG, and we're working very hard on attachments. So hopefully those will be in your hands very soon.
So this is a great debate here, and Spartan's sticking up for the kickback on the SMG laser by saying that it's more like a plasma, it's more like an energy burst. Okay, maybe I can wrap my head around that. Spartan's helping me out. Maybe if it's like a plasma burst of sorts. Arcane's saying it's doing thermal type damage, obviously not kinetic. So it would have some sort of kickback if the energy burst was large enough. I can't wait to put this out because I want to see what people's comments about that is. Like, what do you think about that? I have never discussed this on the channel before, so it should be interesting to see what people think about that.
Building the best damn space sim ever is a collaborative process, not just between the teams in our 5 studios around the world, but with the thousands of Star Citizens that participate every quarter in our public test universe, the place where each patch goes through an extensive shakedown process and the duly deputized members of our community, that's you, help.
I think they're going to start talking about community stuff. Arcane says plasma that size wouldn't have that much mass, says Arcane. I think Spartan's going to have a meltdown if you guys keep debunking his plasma theory. Boba says, I can understand a small amount, but nowhere near that much. Maybe the kick of a 9mm. And there is a difference between plasma and laser. One is a mass, the other is not. Plasma would have mass, laser being light would not. Interesting point, Boba. Look at this. We're getting like into equations on here. I love this show.
Help us identify and prioritize the most egregious of blockers that must be cleared before moving to our live environment. This week, we talk with members of our player relations team to find out more about how you can help this development process with every major patch.
Okay, this is why I say somebody is watching the show here. We've been talking about that the past week and a half. We have literally been talking about QA testing and Evocati. We've been talking about how possibly they're mismanaging the whole process on catching bugs, and boom. It's like they're replying to the content that I make. Now, just admit it right now, Jared. Just admit it right now, Chris. You're watching the games. You're watching the games. I don't see Board Gamer asking questions like these or talking about these points. I don't see any of them. Not that they're, hey, they do their own content. I give them props. I know how hard it is to be a content creator. But it seems like when I bring out these op-ed pieces and I talk about legitimate concerns, they try to like put them on the shows. Right? Boom, he got caught. I swear to God, they do this all the time. I want the credit. Jared, give me the credit. Wow. It's like
so
they're talking
what is public
to me.
test universe and why is it important? Well, in our development pipeline, right, software gets built,
His
it
name's
gets tested
Will.
by our internal QA, and then before it gets to live, it needs a little bit of massaging and extra testing. It goes up to an external server, the PTU, Public Test Universe, and that's where volunteers.
Okay, so now what they're doing in response to the video that I made talking about how possibly they need more QA testers is they're talking about the process in itself to the average gamer that logs in, wonders how the bugs are tested. They're going through the process now. Now, I want them to focus on them telling me how many people they have in their QA department, which they won't do. And I will be upset about. I'm thinking about 5% of the 537 employees are doing actual QA testing. Yes, those QA testers really only work when patches are being tested with other Evocati member. But we were talking about last week how possibly they're putting more of the workload on Evocati, who in fact are paying to play a build that is buggy, of course, to find the bugs. But they're literally paying to be testers in essence, which is what the Evocati, Evocati are people that take the time to report the bugs. We love them. Thank you very much. Some of them that do the work. But this help is free. And we were talking about, comparing it to a public corporation like, oh God, the evil empire of Electronic Arts or Activision Blizzard, how they have literally a large staff of QA testers that they pay. The difference between free help and the difference between paid help and how the builds come out. We've been talking about this for literally a week and a half. And let's see if they divulge any details.
Your players can go check out the new content, and we can do several updates, sometimes a lot of updates before it gets out to the live audience.
Yeah, another thing we can do with the PTU is we can actually be a little bit experimental, and a good example of that was during ISCS testing. We can.
Okay, Michael Smith, player feedback analyst. Am I to assume that the people in the background are QA testing the product, that they're all playing the build? Does it look like to you that this is their QA department where these are just, paid quality assurance? For people that don't understand what QA is, it's quality assurance. And these people actually are like Evocati times, Evocati on steroids because they're getting paid for the job.
And tune numbers and give it to players, see what they think about it, and then tune them again and give it back and see what they think about it and kind of work iteratively.
Arcane says one person on the far right looks like they're on Discord. They do. But this is really important. Like some people are just going to go like this when they watch, like, DG not important. Yes, so fucking important. This is important because the builds that are coming out on the patches that are coming out, we need good experiences. So we need the least amount of bugs possible. People would laugh at that. People would tell me by saying that, they would go, DG, you're so stupid, man. Like every patch that comes out, it's going to have bugs. It's an alpha, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I know that. Like that is just the dumbest fucking argument when people come up and approach me and say, you know, I saw these videos, but like it's an alpha. It's an alpha. It's an alpha. Yes, we get it. It's an alpha. We all know that it's an alpha, but it's the only game that we know. It's the game that we play. As a gamer, when we log into the game, this is the game. We're not logging into Squadron 42. We're logging into the PU. So the more focus on this particular department, this QA department that puts out these builds for us when they're finalized, they go to PTU. There's 3 different phases of it, 4 actually. Then it goes and they say, okay, great. Now it's PU. This whole process needs streamlined so that when it comes out, there's as little bugs as possible on the build, so that when people are buying their or pledging and they log into the game, they're having good experiences. Why? Because those good experiences translate into more sales, and those sales make it more of a reality, make Star Citizen more of a reality. That is why this is important. Thank you.
From there. So we have several waves. The first wave is the Evocati wave. And these are usually our most dedicated testers. They spent the most time playing the game.
Is it really alpha if we pay to play? It is more of a beta now, if you ask me. I think it has almost evolved into that, Boba. Arcane says, we can be understanding, but blindly rating off excuses for game companies promotes laziness. That's why it's important to be vocal about these issues and to actually put them on point. Exactly, Arcane. And Boba, I would say at this point in time, with as far like prior 3.0, I would say alpha, just because there was so much just wrong, you know, in the game mechanics. After 3.0 was big. I think 3.6 is almost like a rerun of 3.0 with the new flight mechanics and the VTOL and the law mechanics going to be introduced, which I'm probably going to do videos about. 3.6 is a very big patch coming up. I think that we're at that stage right now where if we streamline this process, the same process I was talking about a week and a half ago on the Evocati problem, if they streamline this whole department and they make so the patches or the builds coming out and they qualify as the PU build after everybody tests it, there should be as little to no bugs as possible. Obviously, there's going to be some. We know that. But because we want good experiences, because we want good sales, because we want that to directly correlate to the reality of this game being made, it's so necessary that they manage this department properly. Spartan says, I think we are possibly talking about different aspects of the weapon. Oh, we're still talking. Spartan's still talking. I love it. I love it. That is such a good talking point. Keep talking about the plasma versus the laser and the SMG we just saw.
They spend the most time on the issue council. They're very familiar with the game and the systems, and we throw them basically our rawest product. This stuff is very new. It's very fresh. It's very buggy, but they're able to identify those bugs easily and quickly because they're so familiar with the gameplay.
Out of that, we run several surveys to collect the feedback. The feedback at that point gets collected by Michael Bayor-Smith. He coordinates with Jake Ross in production. And we...
Okay, they're actually talking about something we had mentioned where Evocati were complaining that the bugs that they reported were not getting paid attention to. So they're telling you the people that are responsible for catching these bug reports from the Evocati. And now they're showing them. So here is their QA kind of department. Doesn't seem like there's tons of people. Like how many people do we count up? We should go back and kind of count up that area. Didn't seem that big.
We put all of that feedback into various silos. That could be flight, that could be missions, that could be characters, that could be group.
Is my quality assurance dude holding an axe? What's going on here? Focus on the bugs, damn it.
You name it. Well, that goes into
wait.
The development.
This quality assurance department literally looks like it is about maybe 15 people. It's pretty close to my projections. I said 5% of 530, which is like 25 to 28 people. It actually looks like it's not nearly that. To what I'm looking at, it almost looks like it's maybe 3%. So we got to axe the bugs, DG, says Arcane. It's for punishment for each bug not fixed, says Spartan. Not sponsored by Clorox. Oh my God. So maybe they need more focus on this department. This is kind of where I'm getting at with some of the video content that I'm making and why I'm so vocal about it. This department needs a little bit more work. There needs to be a little bit more focus in this department so that the reports by Evocati are taken in seriously according to priority, and that they're knocked out, that these bugs are squashed. I mean, really, we need a better alpha. And some people, again, I can just hear it in my head, are going to say, it's an alpha, you idiot. But because of the way I explained everything and how it all correlates to making this game a reality, I think we should all take heed that this is a very important department that needs more attention, that needs better management.
Pipeline for future
What's up,
updates.
RSW?
When we go to wave 1, which is concierge subscribers, we're usually looking for higher concurrency to let us test load on the system, to let us test lots of players playing at once and lots of players pushing.
And see, they're testing load. It's disgusting what they're doing in the department.
The services in all of our systems very, very high.
Sorry, that
and
was
then
terrible.
we expand from there when we want more and more players as we're going on into wave 2 and then finally into everybody. So the whole wave system, starting with Evocati all the way through up to everyone, is a really good way for players to engage with the development and for development to see how players are playing the game and just work back and forth across that line to sort of build the product together.
Yes, and what's more important here is that most of the load isn't put on to the Evocati. I mean, I get it. The more people that are out there testing this, the more chances of catching the bugs. I understand that concept, but when it comes down to streamlining the process, there needs to be actually a fair amount of work in the QA department who are paid employees of SIG. End of story on that.
And to test it together and make it better. And we also are still listening when we go live. That's when we're still collecting feedback, we're still working iteratively, we're still looking at all of your comments so that we can move forward into the next build and make corrections from there.
So recently we added about 1,500 backers to the Evocati. So the Evocati are selected.
So here's what they're doing. They're adding more Evocati, and I get it, but I don't think throwing more people at the problem is necessarily the answer here. Evocati people are free work. They're free paid employees, essentially. They need to actually hire people directly within SIG to do, for instance, I'm just sitting down. I'll report a bug or two, right? You're sitting down at your PC. You're doing the same thing. Maybe you're not. Some of you do, some of you don't. But the point is you're not getting paid for it. You're just kind of nonchalant. You're just like, helter skelter. Oh, here's a bug, here's a bug, here's a bug. You're not really focusing intently on this. These guys are getting paid for it. And these guys are the ones really where it comes down to why the builds. That's honestly why 3.5 and 3.5.1 came out so sloppy. Some of the builds recently have been very sloppy. And I blame the QA department.
By two ways. It's most frequently played on live, and it's from our issue council participation. If anyone is interested in getting involved in Evocati, play more, get on the issue council, you're going to get selected on a long enough.
Yeah. They're literally getting help for free, and they're dictating terms to people like, hey, if you want to do work for us for free, then these are the things that you need to do. You know what I mean? That's why I give a lot of Evocati a ton of credit, because the Evocati don't have to do what they're doing, and they take the time to do what they're doing for free. And it's kind of a little bit shisty that they go about this like this. I know they need the numbers, but when I hear things like this, it's kind of like, we're not going to take the time to hire in paid employees to take care of these problems. We're going to just try and offload this onto people who love the game, who've paid for the game. And we're going to get this work done for free. Thanks, guys. Now here's the criteria on becoming the Evocati. It's the biggest. Don't even get me started.
Enough timeline.
Hey everybody, you know what time it is?
Right. Arcane says free workers are one thing, but the workers literally are paying them as well. They're not even interns. They're literally. What's up, Pirate? Welcome to the stream, bro. Can't believe I almost missed you, man. Hey, thanks so much for making it to the show. We're having a good time today.
It's sprint report time.
the hell was that?
Use that. We're using that one. Go. Trains. Everyone loves trains. And our EU feature teams have been working on transit tech improvements like this demo of a new train manager that expands the number of cars that we can have on a single line. I'm looking at you, Lorville. Now, this new system will let designers set an interval of how often they want trains to appear at a station, and the system will automatically generate the appropriate amount of cars and time them to achieve their goal. In ship damage news, have you ever noticed how you can damage a ship and strip away the outer hull, but once you separate apart like a wing, the personalized damage you've done is gone? Well, not anymore, because our US feature teams have been working on shared UV2 damage between ship hulls and their debris. So when you write your name in the side of someone's ships with your weapons, you can rest comfortably knowing it'll stay there once you finish the job.
All right. That's cool.
And finally, we've got updates from the VFX team's current sprint, starting with the first pass VFX for the Neutron Repeater, an upcoming ship weapon scheduled to make its way to you in Alpha 3.6. Now, besides the sweet colors on display, what's really neat here is the glow in the back is directly tied to the heat exchange of the weapon. So it changes color depending on how much exertion you put on it. Kind of like me.
That's kind of funny.
This next clip is an exaggerated example of progress being made on a bucket list item for the VFX team, tinted impact effects. Now, it's a small thing, but many times when you fire a weapon into the ground, you'll see a nondescript puff of gray smoke or debris that looks like it could have come from anywhere. But early work has begun on this new feature that will allow particles to inherit their color from the particular surface you're shooting at. An incredibly small but powerful tool that will support the massive variety of Star Citizen's planets and moons in the future. And then there's decoupled lighting, which we told you all about at the beginning of this quarter. Now, honestly, for what this does to add realism to the way our lights interact with everything around them, I'm just gonna be quiet and let the footage speak for itself.
Damon, you lovely beast, you dude. Thank you for subscribing, bro. That's dedication right there. Thank you so much, Damon. You know I love you, bro. Excuse me. Our Arc Corp, walking around it, is really fantastic. I do love the lighting that they're working on there. Do they need to put that much detail that we've seen into a lot of the cloud effects or the dust particle effects? I don't think that's absolutely necessary. Personally, that's something that I think is a very, very small detail that can be kind of dealt with later. Like, this is, again, what I'm talking about, managing people inside a SIG, like these projects, you know, there are all these different departments inside SIG, and sometimes I just wish that there's more cohesiveness between the teams. Like, it seems to me sometimes like that work can be better put into like game mechanics. I also think that what's going on inside of SIG right now is that you have this focus. Like, we all been focusing towards Squadron 42 now. Some people think that the focus towards Squadron 42 is because of the $46 million investment that has happened. You know, the private investors came in. And personally, in my opinion, I think that the $46 million was taken by Chris because they needed the money. I don't think that Chris is the type of person that likes to sell off control. So to me, I feel like prior to the $46 million that they took on, they were kind of low on cash. And so Chris was probably hell bent on figuring out if he wanted to release some of SIG to private investors. So he took the money because he absolutely needed the money. And now he's got the $46 million. We saw revenue go up from our last video. We watched our last video. We saw revenue go up per citizen. The pledge per average citizen, I think, was somewhere around $100, which is up from 80 or thereabouts. I had a link. You can go check out that video. There's a spreadsheet on that. You guys can get into the numbers on that. So it's very comforting to see that there's like a revenue climb. But I think that the expenses are running a little bit amok. Like, short term, I'm okay. Long term, I'm not so okay. So like, one of the things that I think is important for, you know, moving forward here financially for SIG is to, you know, make sure that the innards, if you will, it's a disgusting word, are all in sync. Like, we're managing each department as like we just talked about with QA. We just talked about this in the QA department. Same thing goes for like the ship designers. Same thing goes for marketing. You know, I think we need a little bit better management in these teams. We need to streamline them. Do we need that many employees? Do we need 500 plus employees with 5 different locations? Not quite sure that we do, but hey, these are things that are called expenses. And, you know, I think at the point that they're at right now, they're going to have to limit the amount of expenses and they're going to have to increase revenue, which I have seen. So I'm very happy about them increasing the revenue per the spreadsheet that I saw. Walking around an ArcCorp with the lighting that you see here is definitely progression. So when people are just like, oh, you know, Star Citizen is bullshit and it'll never come out, I don't think so. Because you can see the progression. You can definitely see the progression of the game. And you can see it in places like ArcCorp. It's fantastic. But the biggest hurdle right now for Star Citizen is definitely the server-side OCS. Definitely server-related issues right now. And I think getting back to my point is perhaps the switch of focus from the PU to Squadron 42 wasn't the investment money, but was perhaps because SIG really can't find an answer for server-side OCS. So because they can't figure out the server-side OCS, the network buying calling, the server meshing, these very, very serious issues, because they really don't have the answers right now, perhaps that's another reason why focus shifted so drastically to Squadron 42. And the new protocol is, hey, everything that happens in Squadron 42 filters down into the PU. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Just my opinion.
Parasite craft, snub fighters, little ships that go inside big ships. Whatever you call them, these spacecraft are intended to bring additional functionality to the ships that carry them, from the 85X to the 890 Jump to the Pisces and the Carrack. These ships bring additional character to the Star Citizen universe. And this week, Elwyn takes us on a tour of the current updates to our original snubs, the Merlin and Archimedes from Kruger Intergalactic.
We've got 2 cool ships coming to Star Citizen very, very soon. One of them is an update to the Merlin,
I love this
which has been out for a while, but we've had some changes we had to make because we made updates to our animation templates, had to fix the cockpit, so on and so forth. The next one is the Archimedes, which is a variant of the Merlin, which looks super cool because it's luxury. Let's take a look.
You guys are so sweet, man. You guys are like, pause the stream. You got to call back your mom. It's okay. I texted her. Everything's okay, guys. Everybody was hearing the buzzing. I obviously was not. And everybody was hearing all the crazy buzzing over here.
So this is the Merlin that you know and hopefully love, but not really, because we've made some changes to the exterior of this ship. It's very minor in terms of the geometry. It's all essentially the same thing. We've just kind of optimized it a little bit. The main difference is that
I remember when the P-52 Merlin first came out, and I loved it as a snub-nosed fighter that had no capability for quantum. And a lot of people were pissed off about that. And people said, oh man, the P-52 should have quantum. And that's why some people, you know, need to take a bigger, take a step back and look at the big picture of the game, right? Because there's different aspects of gameplay. The P-52 being a snub-nosed fighter with no quantum makes it very cool for carriers, frigates, you know, these types of larger ships that can literally hold quite a few of these and go at it. As far as the effectiveness of the P-52, not very effective. I think they should do something to kind of step up a little bit of damage, just a touch,
We've given this a real clear coat shader.
Thank you, guys.
You can kind of see here the reflection. I mean, it's hard to see the reflection in this environment, but you can see the spec highlight very strong.
That'd be great,
got more
David.
of a car paint that actually looks like real car paint, actually working on this thing. And in conjunction with that, we've gone ahead and updated the wear on this. So while you will not receive it this way when you buy it, hopefully, eventually we'll be able to sort of rust away and get extremely worn. So there's a little bit of work that still needs to go into this thing, so that way we don't get the spec highlight in the wear areas, but it's looking really, really cool, and the tech's working really nicely. Another thing that we ended up doing here also was going through and sort of redoing the cockpit lighting. And we did that because when you do sort of video conferencing from one ship to another, it was lighting characters in the cockpits incorrectly. So we went through and changed the lighting inside the cockpit so that it still looks super cool from a third-person view, but from if you were sort of video conferencing, the character would be lit in such a way that he or she wouldn't be blown out in the other person's camera. We also did a little bit more tweaking on the lighting here in order to get the glass for the HUD to show up a little bit better, which is kind of cool. And we've also did a little bit of mood lighting for the weapon in the front, because it's always nice to see the thing that you're gonna blow people up with. Anyway, that's the Merlin. And I'll swap over now to the Archimedes so you can take a look at what that looks like. So as you can see here, this is the brand new Archimedes. It's got the nice white car paint. It's got brand new racing thrusters in the back, because it's much faster than the Merlin. We no longer have the gun in the front for this one. Instead,
Pirate.
it's just
Right.
an additional intake to cool off those brand new engines that we've got. And in addition,
Slightly
we've
more
got
powerful than a car, though, Pirate. Just slightly.
pretty snazzy, a little bit more luxurious cockpit. We've got that white paint continuing onto the inside.
That's cool.
And
I
we've
like
also
I like
got
the
some
change.
custom mood lighting in there, which you can see here, a little bit of a nice mood lighting on
glow.
the inside. It's a little bit
Dig the
warmer. as opposed
interior
to the Merlin,
changes.
which is much cooler
Mom first stream.
with all the blues. The other thing you can notice here too is the wings. This ship has winglets on the edges, so it's got a little bit better maneuverability as well.
Wasn't that on
Overall,
before?
A really cool ship. It would be very
Were the little winglets on the side, the aileron kind of, weren't those on that on the prior build, or no? I forget. I think that's new. I do think that's new.
very hard to get shot down on this thing. So that was a quick look at the Merlin and the Archimedes. The artwork is being done by
Yeah, I
Daniel
thought so,
Mency,
Spartan.
one of the good artists on my team. Yes, go Daniel. Doing very, very cool work. So I think it's looking really cool. I hope you guys really enjoy it. It should be coming out in Alpha 3.6. So stay tuned. It should be playable for you guys very soon.
So,
Perfect timing,
what do we
Boba. Perfect timing. Thank you so much, Boba, for the bits, dude. Thank you so much.
learned this week? We learned it's impossible to have too many options when it comes to FPS weapons that are right for you. That your participation in the public test universe and issue council makes for a better overall Star Citizen experience when patches go.
Oh, they need more QA. I'm telling you guys, they need more attention to the QA department. I know you watch the show, Jared, and we know now that you watch it too, Chris, because you're literally responding to the content that I make almost the day or two after I make the content. So listen to what I'm saying now. Put more focus onto the QA department. Hire more paid employees for QA. Quit shifting the offload of the work to the Evocati. I understand you're bringing in more Evocati. I get it. I don't always think throwing more people at a problem is the solution. I get it when you're trying to find bugs. I know the counter argument to it. But I think it's more of an internal management issue. See, Pirate's saying hello to you, Chris. We know you're watching right now. Pirate is literally saying, everybody say hello to Chris. Everybody just start saying hello to Chris so he understands that we know that he watches this show. Chris, there we go. Arcane is telling you hi. Okay? Pirate already told you what up. Everybody knows you're watching the show right now, Chris. There we go. Spartan, we have plenty of people now that understand you guys are watching the games. Just, hey, how about throwing us a little props? How about throwing us a little bit of props is all I'm saying.
Go live. And the Merlin and Archimedes weren't actually
Spartan.
named after the Wizard and Owl in that animated movie from my childhood.
You guys are cracking me up.
My headcanon still says otherwise. To our subscribers, our thanks each and every week for making this show possible. And to the Star Citizens in over
Damn.
170 countries around the world. We'll see you next week.
Yes. Thanks, guys. That was a great show tonight. I had a lot of fun with you guys tonight. That was about an hour show we did tonight. Thank you so much for being here on the show. I'm going to try and be posting a lot of content. As you guys know, I had a very rough week this week, kind of depressed about Pops and stuff, and over Father's Day and missing him. And, there's been a lot of things going on, but I will continue to pump out the content. I really love you guys. Thanks for stopping by and chilling with me. You guys are the best. Like, honestly, I love hanging out with you guys and watch it. We should do this more. We should find other things that we can watch together. I think it's actually a very fun thing to do. But until the next video or stream, guys, thanks so much for stopping by. I love you, and I will see you on the next stream or vid. Peace out.